Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter for boxing-related tweets, or you can subscribe to this channel and you can get live notifications whenever I upload a new channel. And listen, please share the channel if you enjoy it. If you like the analysis, you like what you see, share the channel, bring over as many people as you can, and let's make this debate as big as possible. I love your comments, whether they're constructive or argumentative. It makes no difference to me. I love the debate, so please keep it up. Let's talk Tyson Fury. Wow. Listen, what do you say, man? From 2011, 2012, around that period of time, I've been saying, long-time subscribers will know that I think Tyson Fury has all the tools to become the best heavyweight in the world, to take over from Vladimir Klitschko. He's going to be the guy to do it. This was when people were on the David Price bandwagon. People used to laugh at Tyson Fury. He's just a big oaf that uppercuts himself in the face and stuff like that. And there was only one other guy, Chris Bottom, who I've mentioned on this channel before, that I used to come across on Twitter, and we used to argue against everybody with these David Price fans, and loads of people would tell us we were crazy and things like that. And obviously there were other people, there were loads of other people too, loads, Verity, there were loads, but I didn't know them at the time. So the one person whose experience that I had with was Chris Bottom on Twitter. And a couple of years passed, and I say, you know what, I actually not only think Fury's going to become the best in the world today, I think he's got the tools to become one of the best of all time. And again, people were laughing and mocking and things like that. Even after the Klitschko win, people just thought, oh, Klitschko just had a bad day. He's consistently been doubted throughout his career, this guy. And there was one journalist, I think it was for The Sun, but don't hold me to that. It was one newspaper, so I'm not sure, okay? So don't hold me to this. But it was one newspaper, mainstream British newspaper, who was comparing Fury and Vladimir to big lummoxes just falling over each other, and they couldn't fight and things like that. I just remember thinking, I can't believe this person's a boxing journalist. It's ludicrous. But anyway, I've always expected him to reach the pinnacle. But if you watch the preview, I said that although I think Fury should win the fight, if they're both at the best, Fury wins. I didn't think Fury would be at his best. And this has just taught me a lesson. Number one, don't doubt myself when it comes to analysing the technical aspects and abilities of fighters. But more importantly, don't doubt the Gypsy King. Listen, to come back after 3 years out, everything he's overcome, to put in a performance like that, that 3-year hiatus was unbelievable to do what he did the first fight. Then he had the Schwartz fight, then that cut against Wallin, to come through all of that. And then to put this performance in, wow, man. It's one of the all-time great heavyweight performances. It really is. It was a masterclass. And let's talk about why. Rather than just throw superlatives at him, let's talk about what he did, because it was incredible. This was a mauling, but it wasn't a brawl. This guy knew what he was doing. Let's talk about some of the things that he did, because they were fantastic. Firstly, he was walking Wilder down. And we were saying in the preview how he throws, Fury tends to throw a jab where he's catching you with the outside of his hand, almost like a backhanded knuckle, and he'll roll it, and he's always moving off to his left and keeping you off balance and bust you up over time with that jab. Not yesterday. Yesterday it was a Vladimir Klitschko, George Foreman heavy jab. All right, it was thudding. It was like a right hand. He was landing it on Wilder, and Wilder's body was all over the place. Now, why was this important? Because as he was doing this, when he was choosing to walk Wilder down, we spoke in the preview video about how Wilder likes to throw a right hand in the same dynamics as a pitcher or a shot putter. He'll shift that weight from the back foot to the front foot and bring the back foot forward, just like a pitcher. Launch everything he's got, or a shot putter, launch everything he's got. To do that, you have to be able to shift your weight to the front foot. It's almost like you're launching. It's like you're jumping. When he's being forced to move backwards, what he's doing is shifting the weight from his front foot to his back foot to retreat. And he doesn't have the opportunity to launch that punch forward and whip that right hand round. What Fury was doing was walking him down with a lot of foot pressure. But doing that alone, Wilder would have just held his feet and let go of a hand and thought, all right, let's go to war in the center of the ring. But he was being forced back by that thudding jab. So he wasn't in a position to ever just say, you know what, I'm just going to hold my feet and launch a counter here. He wasn't in that position because he was kept off balance, but being hurt. He was feeling those left jabs. They were heavy left jabs. And he must have realized very early on in this fight, this is a different Fury. This is not the Fury I faced in the first fight. From a tactical perspective and in terms of his sheer physical strength, his thudding power was different this time. That's the first thing. The second thing that Tyson Fury did, which I thought was unbelievable, which he's not getting credit for. In fact, who am I to question the great Lennox Lewis, right? But Lennox Lewis felt that if Tyson wasn't smothering his own work and falling into Wilder a little bit more, he could have stopped the fight earlier. Yeah, I think Wilder was ready to go from the fifth. But here's the thing. I think that this was a tactical choice that was genius, and I'll explain why. I think Fury wanted to smother his own work. It was the logic of, I'm going to land on you. Instead of landing three or four shots in a combination, I'm going to land one or two, then I'm going to fall into you. And what that does is stop you working. You're vulnerable. I could knock you out now. I don't need to knock you out now. Because when I'm falling into you with this big frame of mine, I'm forcing you to hold me. I'm forcing you to carry my weight. You're getting tired. You're getting worn down. But more importantly than that, when I smother you, you're not in a position to counter me. There were moments when Wilder was on the ropes and he was rolling with Fury's shots really well. But as he's rolling, he can't then come back with a counter. He'll roll, he'll ride a shot, and then can't come back with anything because Fury's fallen into him. So where he wants to go back to come forward with a counter, he's going back and then the guy's falling on him. It was purposeful. It was planned. He wanted to smother his own work to stop Wilder landing. Rather than Fury thinking, I'm going to land 4 shots and Wilder might land 1, he's thinking, I'm going to land 2 shots, only 2. But Wilder's not going to land any in this exchange. And that was the mentality. And by also doing that, smothering him, I'm going to force him to grind. I'm going to grind him down. I'm going to work him, tire him out. And to prove this to you, this concept of why Fury did this, I want you to go back and watch the stoppage. It was not a premature stoppage because Wilder was getting beaten up. Okay, maybe you could have let it go a few more seconds, but he would have been hurt. He was done. But in that exchange, Fury did not smother his work. And I want you to see what happened. Fury goes in, steps in. Wilder's on the ropes. Fury feints a couple of times. He lands a jab, then a right hand down the pipe. Steps back. Does another little feint, then comes in again. And what happens? He lands his shots, and just before Wilder gets stopped, he lands a left hook of his own. Now, that left hook didn't have a big effect because by now he's been drained. But he still landed the left hook. And it's Deontay Wilder. All it takes is one right hand or one left hook, and the fight can change. So the one time Fury didn't smother his work when Wilder was up against the ropes or in the corner, what happened? Fury got the better of him and stopped him, but Wilder landed a big shot, a power shot, a left hook. So if Fury had done that earlier, when Wilder had more left in the tank, there's still a threat coming back. So what Tyson Fury's doing is minimizing the risk while still being aggressive. Think about that for a minute. He's minimizing the risk while still being aggressive. And not only aggressive, but by breaking up that rhythm and making it sloppy, he's also put in an investment in for later in the fight because he's tiring Wilder out as the bigger man. So from a tactical perspective, it was just superb. Superb. The second round was the one round I wasn't that impressed with Fury. It was a swing round. And when I say I wasn't impressed with him, he'd set the tempo. He wanted Wilder to be working hard, okay? I get that. The problem is, if you're going to do what he did, where you're walking Wilder down, you have to back it up with that big jab. Otherwise, get out of range. Because what happens is when you're backing him up with that big jab, he can't launch that shot. There were a couple of moments in the second round where Fury was in range and holding his feet too much and not doing anything. He wasn't getting out of the pocket, but he wasn't also forcing him back with a power jab. And Wilder was able to land a couple of right hands. The first one kind of eroded the shot. The second one, it caught Fury, and I can't say it really hurt him, but it definitely didn't hurt him, but he felt it. You saw him as he came off the center line, he had a little stutter step. His legs didn't go, but he thought, okay, this is a big shot. And in the post-fight, Fury's head bruised a little bit too, by the temple. Wilder carries that power. That was a swing round. It depends what you liked. Fury did more work. Wilder landed the 2 big eye-catching shots. Fury also landed a right hand, a good solid right hand towards the end of the round, where he then fell into Wilder. But the point is, that was a competitive round where Fury didn't quite get the judgment right, I felt. Either get out of the pocket or get in and start pushing. He picked up where he was supposed to pick up from in round 3, and you saw just how superb he was. This was a masterclass. It was a masterclass. Now, finally, where does it go from here? Where do they go from here? Tyson Fury, obviously, is open to Deontay Wilder if he's going to take that rematch clause. Should he do that? No, I don't think he should. If Tyson Fury takes this rematch clause, if Wilder takes a rematch and loses, his career's done. This big, scary boogeyman is done. Whereas if he goes after a fighter who's well known and knocks him out, imagine Wilder was to fight a Dillian White. It's going to be a big money fight, especially if they do it in the UK, if Wilder's willing to travel to the UK. Pay-per-view fight in the UK. If Wilder then knocks White out, it's a risky fight, but let's say he knocks White out, because White is not that hard to hit. He's offensively very good, but he's not that hard to hit, and we've seen him hurt. We've seen him hurt by Joseph Parker, we've seen him hurt by Chisora, we've seen him hurt by Anthony Joshua. If Wilder can knock him out, he can then come back and say, you know what, I learned from that Fury loss, I'm better than ever. Then he goes and fights another B-rate guy, knocks him out in devastating fashion, says, I'm better than ever. All of a sudden, whoever wins between AJ and Fury, Wilder's catapulted himself back into the big time. Whereas if Wilder takes this fight and loses, because I can't see how he improves in the immediate to short term. He might never improve. So if this might be it. After all, he's 34 years old. He's no spring chicken. He's never been able to adapt up until this point, really. So if he then loses again to Fury, his career's over. Where do you go from there? He's done. So unless he wants to cash out, I don't think he should exercise the immediate rematch clause. Where does Tyson Fury go from here? He could go after Anthony Joshua for all the marbles. That would tie him up for a while. That would tie him up until next year, because there'd be a rematch clause there for sure. They'd have a summer fight and then probably a Christmas fight, a November fight. So there's a possibility for him. Alternatively, I'm not sure what the alternative would be now for Tyson Fury. He could go after a Dillian White. That's a big fight too. He could go after Alexander Usyk, a big name like that. I think that's too much of a risk for low reward. I think the logic now has to be, if there is no rematch with Wilder, I think he has to go for Anthony Joshua. He's always said, that I'm going to beat Deontay Wilder twice, then I'm going to beat Anthony Joshua, then I'll beat Dillian White, then I'm sailing off into the sunset. If he does that, where would you rank Tyson Fury in the annals of time? For me, listen, if you're talking about achievement, he's still got a little way to go. He has to beat Anthony Joshua. He has to finish undefeated, in my opinion, in this era as a dominant heavyweight. I think that's what he needs to do. But if you're talking about sheer ability, 6'9", as agile as he is, that can dance and box around the ring, moves around the ring where you can't get to him, that can switch orthodox or southpaw. But if he doesn't want to dance, he can maul you. He can maul you if you're a fast cruiserweight like Cunningham, or if you're a big, scary power puncher like Deontay Wilder. He can hunt. He can be the hunted, where he's picking you off, or he can be the hunter. Inside, outside, mid-range. Power. You saw how heavy-handed he was today. 68% knockout ratio. This idea that he's feather-fisted is ludicrous. It's because he doesn't usually sit on his shots. If he wants to be a bully, he can be a bully. If he wants to be cultured, he can be cultured. Where have you ever seen that level of marrying, that level of combination of fighter? A big 6'9" inside fighter. It's nuts. I'm sorry. It's just, if you're talking about sheer ability, and people are going to laugh at this, he's in the conversation for being the best of all time. If you were to clone all the heavyweights, all the great heavyweights, and put them in a tournament, no one ends up undefeated, because styles make fights. But he probably wins the majority of the fights. If it was a league, he'd probably be at the top of the league. Him, Vitaly, Lennox. I think these are the most adaptable guys, to be honest with you. I don't think it's the Muhammad Ali's or the George Foremans of the world. That's just my opinion. Now, he's there. He's right there. He just needs to achieve this legacy now and secure it. It's easier said than done, because Anthony Joshua is a better boxer than Deontay Wilder. He might not carry that one-punch knockout power, but he's got overall heavier hands, I believe. He's physically stronger. He's the more technical boxer. Anthony Joshua is no mug. That is going to be a huge challenge for Tyson Fury. If he comes through that fight, what a legacy. What a fight. I thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. There is one more thing I want to say, but I'm worried about the video's length. I'll say it anyway, really quickly. Actually, no, you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm going to keep you guessing. I'll let you know in another video about Tyson Fury's mindset. We'll talk about that. Chat to you soon.